Now entering Nerdist.com.
Unlock it. Play. No, play.
Matt and James Bonding Podcast.
Myra, Gorley, Myra.
James Bonding Podcast. It's the 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 James Bonding Podcast with Matthews, Myra, and Gorley.
In front of people.
Matthews, Gorley, and Myra. Podcast of James Bond. Matthews, Gorley, and Myra. Podcast of James Bond. James Bonding Podcast. James Bonding Podcast. James Bonding Podcast. James Bonding Podcast. Matt and James Bonding Podcast.
Yeah, there it is.
Hello and welcome, everybody.
Welcome. Thank you to the Los Angeles Podcasting Festival for having us out here. Stamps.com/WTF for all your needs.
Bonobos, Warby Parker, get some glasses, you get 5
Guys,
of them.
Just use the code HOW, and you'll get 10% off Squarespace or something.
Matt Myra, how are you?
Great, Matt Gorley. It's good to be here with you for a live podcast where you're not shooting a Volkswagen commercial.
Okay, all right. Take it easy. But seriously, the
also
Jetta
good to
TDI Clean Diesel was a great ride if you want to check it out.
It's good to actually do a live podcast / also do a podcast of this.
Yeah.
Hello, listeners. Thanks for forgetting to unsubscribe. I mean, it's been a while.
It was 2011 was the last one, I think.
Yeah, thereabouts. We it was the release of Skyfall was the last time we did a podcast.
Oh my God, that's what started this whole thing, Matt. We have a long, rich history together, and it's good that we perpetuate it because we don't want this to be over. We
Guys,
want it to end.
I just want the people here get to see the video portion of this. So when I'm playing clips, I'm actually playing video. So you'll get to see all the dumb things I see. Do you know what's happening in that still?
No, I'm trying to figure out. It's someone's bursting through something. Is this Tomorrow Never Dies? It better not be.
Nope, it is.
Octopussy.
Yeah,
It says it right there. I have a master's degree.
We like to bring out our guests. One of our guests can only stay for a short while, so we're going to bring them both out right now. Please welcome to James Bonding, Nick Weiger and Mr. Larry Miller, everybody. There's Nick. There's Larry.
Welcome. Have a seat. Join us.
Let's move our box. Put this over here.
Later we'll have a little Christmas present section. Let's not forget.
Welcome to the James Bond podcast. Nick, you're not a huge fan, but I'm going to skip right over you and go to Larry. Larry, I hear through the grapevine that you enjoy James Bond as much as we do. Is that correct?
You know how much?
How much?
That song that you just did of the theme song?
Yeah.
We were just backstage. I think maybe the coolest song in history.
Hey, thank you, Larry. Thank you very much. That's Paul and Storm made
that.
That's
not teasing. I'm saying that I heard it and I thought, that's great.
Thank you for being here. What we do when we have a guest is we like to talk about their first experience with James Bond.
Your formative experience.
What was it? Where were you? Did you see a movie in the theater? If so, which one? Go.
All right. Lucky there was a go in there. Oh, I'm awake now. You know what? I think it needs to be said in general about James Bond, and the reason that song is cool, and the reason we all love the whole world of James Bond is something we don't see anymore. Even as much as I respect Daniel Craig and all the folks doing these things, I think the basic place they started is so cool to show him. And yes, I mean Sean Connery. Just to start that, he's the first scene, as we all knew, would be a giant action scene that built to a giant action scene. He's either in bed with a Russian agent,
Sure,
or he's doing something, and he gets out but not in a superhuman way, but in a James Bond way, in a Sean Connery way, that he just gets himself, he can beat up anyone, and he starts on the ski slope, and then he jumps off the slope, and he has a parachute that turns into the British flag.
Yes.
Or was it a flag that turned into a parachute? We'll never know.
Maybe you're right. But you know what? The truth is, I always thought that was so fabulous. I remember as a kid saying, look at that, the British flag. And even I would start asking myself, well, I have no contact with the British flag.
I know.
I'm not
That
English.
is true.
I don't work
Yeah.
for any secret society. Not that I can tell you. But I mean, really, I thought, no, that's cool. Look how cool that is, the British flag. Why? I don't know. I just know that it is. And then when he successfully completes that action scene, which is a big action scene, but not a crazy action scene.
Right.
Again, he may kill a lot of people. There's no other way to say that, I guess.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
You know,
But remember, when he's killing, he's licensed.
that's right. Yeah, he is, but also it makes you believe and makes you think it is okay that he kills them because you don't really see them or know them, and it just feels all right.
You're not sure if one of the guys he killed was supposed to bring dinner home that night.
Exactly the point, though. They don't have any lives.
Oh,
we
now
know
you've just
about.
wrecked it all for me. Oh, my God.
But so the point is that every single thing that occurs to me in the structure of those movies works. I don't need him to be saved by anyone. I don't like that. I like that James Bond could always save himself. He could always beat up the 2 or 7 guys. And not, again, with some devices from another planet.
Right.
He could always do it. He didn't have to be saved by the Russian agent who he was just in bed with anyway. Or the new British agent. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
He was in bed with a lot
Those
of agents.
movies have... What's that?
He was in bed with a lot of agents. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, there's that too. But I guess I like the resiliency. I like the foundation of that.
Is there part of it the formula for you? Just that you know you're going to get that
yes,
every time?
Formula makes it sound a little contrived or a little crass.
Sure.
But yes, there's a formula to it, and I like that. I
Yeah.
like knowing that I'll be leaving the theater feeling a good deed was done, and that this guy is out there protecting me and everyone. Is he? Who knows? Who cares?
Well, Larry, I do know he's not.
What?
But you know what? Again, you know what? You don't know that because the truth is, it's so much fun. Dr. No, I suppose, was the first movie. I think that was their first movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, there's so much great acting in the world, but if you can ever beat that scene where he's the first time, he sits down at the, not Baccarat.
It is
No, it is
Baccarat.
Baccarat.
Is
Yeah,
it
yeah,
Baccarat?
yeah.
And he's sitting
Oh,
there and
yeah.
he just...
I can pull it up, guys. I have stolen every James Bond movie.
I was just going to say, thank God you're doing that.
Yeah.
I'm
you know
afraid
what?
of what we're going to
I
see.
like how all these mentions of Dr. No are just in here.
You know what?
Bloggers love these baby sale looks.
The first time he says, with a cigarette in his mouth, you haven't seen his face yet, and the woman across the table, the Countess, you know, it's always cool that way.
Sylvia Trench.
Yeah,
Sylvia Trench.
The first Bond girl and the last one for me to catch the double entendre of her name.
I didn't till just now.
Right?
It happened to us the same
We've
way.
gone years, and then just, what was it, 4
so
months
cool.
ago?
Yeah. No, when we did our first podcast, it was 17 years ago.
17 years ago?
But remember something. He was the first. That was the first time he, or anyone, of course, he was the first James Bond. You haven't seen him yet, and she says she's looking at him, and she's obviously intrigued, and says more or less, "Who are you?" To which you hear now you cut to Connery for the first time, and you hear him say with a cigarette in the mouth that he's about to light, those 3 words: Bond, James Bond. And I really mean it. That if you can be cooler than that, I don't think you can.
No, it can't be done. Let's watch that and then...
Suivi.
C'est suivi.
The house
If anyone could explain Baccarat to me,
Oui, monsieur.
Please.
Changeur, s'il vous plaît.
oh, look at that. So classy, guys. We don't see that anymore.
See how she looks at him, though?
Yeah. And plus you get the
Neuf
first
à la banque.
incidents
I
of the
need
music
another
here.
1,000.
Really.
I admire your courage, Miss.
Trench. Sylvia Trench. I admire your luck, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
Mr. Bond. I suppose
Come
you wouldn't
on.
care to.
Right?
Are you kidding?
Very nice. Nick.
You know, I know Matt teed me up as not a fan. But after Larry's impassioned monologue, I think James Bond is my favorite character in the history of the cinema. That was incredible. No, I mean, I wanted, so I'm not a pariah in front of this crowd. It's not that I'm not a fan of James Bond, it's just that I don't have a depth of knowledge about the subject. It's like, I'm like if this was a Star Wars panel, this was a Star Wars podcast, I'm like the guy who's seen Episode 2 and like the Christmas special. I don't know a lot about it.
You've somehow seen the Christmas special?
Yeah.
You watched Attack of the Clones and said, let me check out the Christmas special?
You know why I say that is one of the only James Bond movies I've seen is the original Casino Royale with Peter Sellers.
Whoa!
Which is a weird like spoof movie where cowboys run into a casino at some point.
Yes.
Did you grow up in a house with a bizarro TV that would only play certain things, and you had like a strange relative that lived in the attic that would go, tonight we only watch this alternate version of things?
Yeah. It was it was one of those weird kids that had like you know that weird kid who didn't have a TV but just played piano. That was like that kid from elementary school. No, I was actually exposed to a lot of pop culture, and my formative James Bond experience which was the Timothy Dalton one where a dude gets imploded in like a pressure
License
tank.
to Kill.
License to
Speak
Kill.
no more.
Oh, jeez. Every minute.
Pull that right up over here because I stole them all. Wait. I've also paid for them, so don't worry about
While
it.
you're finding that, we were going to pass out bingo cards to see if we actually, in conversation, name every Bond movie title in here. So we've got Dr. No and License to Kill are the only two we've name-checked so far, right?
I just love the pastels in License to Kill.
Octopussy.
Now, Larry, am I right to assume that your favorite James Bond is Sean Connery?
But you have to, not exactly, because you have to define favorite. I think the others are great. I think you get to know them.
Yeah.
I like Roger Moore far more than I used to. And
You're talking to two Roger Moore fans.
Yeah.
I mean, now I can watch that on a James Bond weekend,
Sure.
which seems like every weekend, by the way.
Yeah. And should be.
But I'm sorry, you have seen more than you think. You do know more than you think you know, because without harping on it, if you can look at Connery do that, we're just rolling the eyes up like that and looking and saying that James Bond, to me, that's just in the world of acting. Sure, there are great Hamlets, but we've seen that. But I mean...
Oh, God.
you can
I
have-
want that on a T-shirt.
Sure, there are great Hamlets. On the back it says, but we've seen that.
But we haven't seen enough. I can see again and again just that look, because to act it that way, to shoot it that way, to write it so that you haven't seen his face until he speaks, to me, that's such the essence of saying, holy mackerel, who could do that? And the way he looks and speaks and carries himself in that moment, it's not even acting like an agent. It's like a panther. It's like something really, really jungle-like.
You know, the only other instance of that I can think of, and it was Spielberg who wanted to direct a Bond film, and then Lucas said, no, I got something better. And they did Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the whole beginning of that opening sequence, they deliberately don't show his face until a small action reveal, and then it comes into the light. And I'm sure it's a direct homage to that, probably.
Of course it is.
Okay, there, it's confirmed.
Yeah. But, Nick, as you were saying, I just wanted to play a little bit of this guy's head
Yeah,
blowing
sure.
up for you.
Continuing the long tradition of people blowing up like rubber balloons.
Pressure's going up, guys. We're going to have a lot of fun in a second. forgot about
that
the
guy
axe.
knows, like they've done this before.
Now, when I look to you on the right, get the axe. I just love this sound. Whoa!
Nick, is that how you remember it?
Yeah, let me.
You just finished your piano practice.
I wanted to specify that I was too young to have seen this. I saw this the same age I had seen Turner and Hooch, and the dog dying in Turner and the Hooch made me cry, and I had to sleep in my mom's bed. So I was like, this was just like another traumatic cinema experience for me, was seeing this guy's head explode. It would like
So
haunt my nightmares.
in your mind, in your young mind, outside your doors of your home was just dogs dying and people's heads getting blown up.
And also the It's a Cookbook episode of The Twilight Zone. That was another.
Jeez.
What was wrong with Electric Company or Sesame Street?
You know, I don't know. I mean, like, I wasn't like a toddler. My parents weren't that irresponsible, but I was like in elementary school. I was like a little too young to process this, and that's a pretty vile image. Like,
You're
that's
in fourth
crazy.
grade, and they sit you down, and we think it's time you watched License to Kill. We want you to see this.
I think while we're talking about people blowing up, I'm going to pull up Live and Let Die and show off Kananga blowing up. Why do they blow up two people?
Rubber people.
You've got 24 movies, and you're thinking, yeah, out of two of those, we inflate people
We're due
to the point of explosion.
Bond 24 is due for a person inflating.
So have you seen, Nick, have you seen the Daniel Craig movies? They're recent, they're in theaters.
I've seen the new Casino Royale, and I've seen Skyfall. I missed the middle one.
Well, you know what? You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not wrong.
I mean,
to
if
miss
you
the
had to
middle
do
one.
it one way, that would be the way to do it.
Yeah. I'm also saying if you give Quantum of Solace a chance and you have 4.5 hours, watch it back to back with Casino Royale.
Okay.
But if you have 4.5 hours, what's wrong with you? Where are you getting 4.5 hours of time from? Kananga's going to blow up here in a second. Now, Larry, where do you fall on the Daniel Craig situation? Do you like what he's doing with it?
I like him a lot because also, remember, as you also well know, he's a great actor, a fabulous athlete. He can do astonishing things.
Sit-ups. He can do a lot of sit-ups.
And but really, he does a great job in movies that I think have been very watchable, and that's a compliment.
Yeah.
I mean, to say, all right, that's pretty good. It's a little outside the realm again of what I love about Bond. It's right up the middle. If it's Dr. No and a Bond girl would come out, when Ursula Andress walks out of the ocean, come on. I mean, how do you beat that? And the answer is you don't. You can't.
You just do it again.
It's nuts. It's so good. And
again.
then she's got a knife on the hip. Why? Who cares? It's great. But the same way, the bad guys get killed. Bond saves himself. And I just get back to...
I imagine adolescent Larry Miller just saying the same things to his parents. I don't know why she's got a knife, but who cares?
By the way, that would have been also my father, because we were essentially the same as saying, who knows why the knife is there? It's good. But I like...
You might as well ask, why are there flowers and rainbows?
I like the basics. And I like the fact that I can trust the basics.
Yeah.
There's always a scene, and then when the music would come in, which is why I like your song so much, where suddenly that pa 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 pa, and it's always a new star singing a song.
Yeah.
And they always had naked women in silhouette. That worked. You know, I don't mean to be harping on this, but you know what I mean. If you saw that, whether you're 10 or 20 or 50 or 80, you can still say, holy mackerel, she really is naked.
And on Blu-ray, you can see some nips.
Seriously.
Another vote against Blu-ray, because in those early Bond movies, when you saw a woman in the shower and she was naked, you saw her in the shower, but it was one of those marbled glasses, so you really can't see anything. But again, to know that she really is naked, to not see it and know it, is huge.
Yeah. It's the same as the Hitchcock suspense rule. Like, your imagination does more for you.
That's right.
Kids, what we're saying is don't don't look for naked women. Look for clothed women that you know are naked at some point.
Is that what we're saying?
I don't know.
You know,
I
what, though?
watched Aliens on
Oddly
Blu-ray.
enough,
Sorry.
You're exactly right. That's funny and fun, but that's exactly the truth anyway. When you do see a woman in the street, if you saw a woman in the street and she was naked, as a joke with friends, as guys, we might say, boy, I'd like to see her naked. No, you wouldn't, because you don't know her. If you get to know her, if you want to get to know her, she's perfectly clothed. Then at some point, that's what builds in you to see her finally naked, if you've earned it. At any rate,
This is like you fight a boss at the end of a video game level. Yeah.
You know what? Let's watch Kananga blow up, because this is your vote for worst moment in the history of the Bond franchise.
From a favorite movie of mine. What's happening to
Acting.
Come on. What? That's absurd.
You've never seen that.
See? Is that not now?
That's fantastic.
Bring up Pigeon Double Take now. We have a bit of an argument of
what
the
was
two
the-
worst moments.
What was the logic behind that?
He
Like, why did he blow
swallowed
up?
a bullet that is intended to kill sharks by blowing up with like a gas.
You've sort of explained it.
So I vote that that's the worst moment in Bond history.
Yep.
And Matt has chosen
I've chosen what I refer to as Pigeon Double Take.
because there's nothing else you could call it.
Now, I'll just mute it and we can continue talking, but what James Bond here, of course, has is what I think is one of the dumbest gadgets in the
It's on
history of
my list.
gadgetry.
It's on my list.
It's a motorized, what do they call those at the
Gondola.
Venetian in Las Vegas? That's where I think they are. At the Venetian in Las Vegas, the gondola. He's stunned. You're going to have a drunk person also stunned. The whole band gets stunned. And then he stuns the animal kingdom. That guy looks at the bottle.
But
Right. Now, this part I'm okay. That! A pigeon just did a triple take.
I still think Kananga Balloon is worse because they were going for.
I'm sorry. Let's just one more time around the bend here. Let's just take a look. Again, guys, watch the pigeon. Now pigeons are flying. That makes sense. A guy, he'd do that, sure. Turning, great. That guy, where's my painting? And then all of a sudden, it was like they had to run the film backwards twice.
Do you think on set they had an animal trainer who was like, no, I can get him to turn it, do it. Was doing a thing with
No.
some bird seed, and he
Here's
just
what I think
couldn't do
happened.
it.
I think John Glenn, the director, it was probably pretty late. He was walking out the door and he was like, it'd be funny if we could do a pigeon double take. And then this upstart young editor was like, I can make it happen. And that's what he presented him with. That's what
I
I've
know
decided.
there's a rule of threes, but you've got the drunk guy and the painter, and they really think that's how they needed to cap it off. They've got enough comedy in there.
Just one
Right
more
there.
time. Everybody look again. It blinks. It blinks.
3 times.
Come on, right?
Nowadays,
Nick?
they do that in they'd use a CGI
Yeah,
pigeon
of
if they're
course.
going to do that these days.
Well,
and it would still
also,
look ridiculous. It would
I think they wouldn't do that these days. I think someone along the line would be like, you want to spend how much to make a pigeon do a double take at a gondola?
From my, not having seen, which movie is this?
This is Moonraker.
This is Moonraker. I'm just surprised by the broad comedic elements, because that's not a thing
This is
I
at
know
the
from
height.
the Daniel Craig Bond.
No,
Yes, and
this
that
is
is-
the height of the comedic.
It's got the drunk looking at his bottle and then the painting thing.
This drunk shows up again in another
he's
movie.
In 3 of them doing the same bit.
Same bottle.
Yeah.
He just happens to be where James Bond is. But this is
So
this,
3 movies later, he still hasn't quit drinking.
No.
He needs
he was
something
like,
else.
I saw
Well,
a
he's seen some
motorized
crazy
gondola.
shit.
by the way, the Jaws from that movie,
Yeah.
Richard Kiel
Late great.
from Moonraker, and just passed away a
I
couple
know.
of weeks ago. And he was also in something you mentioned before, in The Twilight Zone, To Serve Man.
That's right.
And
You're right.
so it's just interesting. And he was great as a great actor who was living a life with this disease that made him that tall and that angular. But you know what? The the fact that they had him going out with the little Swedish blonde,
Yeah.
Oh,
and that they
she's
fall for each other, I would see that and have seen that many times and think, that's so sweet. They fall in love with each other. Now, is that going to happen in real life again? Who cares?
It's like the knife on the hip to you. Everything's a knife on a hip.
And by the way, I think, unless I'm wrong,
Yeah, this
the
is-
doctor's name in this was Holly Goodhead.
That is
Yeah.
absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Holly
Which is-
Goodhead. Look at their. He's going to open the champagne bottle with his jaws.
Oh, you know what? To Jaws, everyone.
Are they just killing themselves right now?
Yeah.
Richard Keel, everybody. Yes.
Richard Keel.
But this is to what you're saying about the silly, funny elements. This sort of is what, when you think of Roger Moore as James Bond, in my head at least, I think of silly James Bond.
Okay.
So I want to school you a little bit on the different James Bonds.
Sure.
Sean Connery, who I still think was the most like the book Bond. Would you back me up on this? Someone who's read the books.
No, I think he's great, but I think Dalton and Craig are closer to the.
Why do you
to
say
Fleming.
that? Because Timothy Dalton sucks?
No, I like Timothy Dalton.
I don't love him.
Well, first of all, I don't know why you're yelling at me. And second of all, the Fleming one, he's a lot more sociopathic, I think. And Craig is like that. You know, the way Craig just throws cell phones and women away, and he just doesn't seem to care. Yeah. You know who's the least like it? Roger Moore.
Roger Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know who's the least enjoyed amongst the public, general public, is George Lazenby, who I think got stuck with that by being in one of the better James Bond movies.
Yeah.
I think Honor Majesty's Secret Service is, as we've said on the podcast before, but I'm letting Larry know, Honor Majesty's Secret Service, we enjoy it quite a bit here.
Yeah.
Did you like that one, or were you just like, meh?
Well, no kidding. I'd like to see it again now because I never really
Let's roll the whole
liked
thing.
it. I never really liked it.
Yeah.
And I always felt bad for him too because he was a big model. He was a giant star in England in a certain commercial. I can't remember, what it was. I think a shaving commercial. And they thought, well, he'd be perfect for this. It didn't work out on a number of levels, but now, since you like it, I'd like to see it again.
Yeah, and then now this is something that happens in this. You don't see his face in the beginning because they're trying to conceal the fact that we forgot to pay Sean Connery enough money to be
Look
in
at that
this.
chepped chin, though. That cleft chin.
But this is it right after this where he says this never happened to the other fellow? Yeah. Wow. Hey guys.
Wait, are there James Bond fans here today?
But this is right up there for one of my least favorite lines in the entire series of movies. So he's just replaced Sean Connery, Nick. I'm going to bring you into the world of us.
Gotcha.
And he's trying to get with Diana Rigg, Tracy, and fights off a villain, saves her from killing herself. And when we first see his face here, he has to let the audience know that he's not Sean Connery, in case they forgot.
Good morning. My name's Bond. James Bond. Miss,
Don't move, Mr. Bond.
How did that guy get there without him saying?
Now get up. Put your hands behind your head.
I love that guy. That guy is the voice of, like, the guy in Jamaica on the boat.
Yeah.
What's he going to do? How's he going to get out of this, right? Watch. He has a boat.
Get in.
I don't know why we're all watching a movie. This is what we do on the podcast sometimes, and it really bothers a lot of listeners. And now you're all watching with us, and I feel like you don't mind that. What? Oh my God!
Oh, well, look at the distance that guy covered.
Did you see what James Bond just jumped from 40 feet from the shore to the water.
This is like a water dance. There's something beautiful about this.
I love that their emphasis on big brassy sections whenever there's a tumble.
Yeah. But the director, just like he told him, just go out there and tumble around and throw each other. Have a good time.
I can't deal with this right now. Let's just skip ahead.
So wait, what was your least favorite line in there?
Here it is, right here.
Okay.
She goes to the car, gets in it. He takes her shoes because he's got a foot fetish, I think.
this never happened to the other fella.
Then he looks at the camera. Then he looks at the camera.
That's the way. That's like the cold open of the movie.
Yeah, it sure is.
This never happened to the other Bond.
Yeah.
Is that like? Yeah, that's like if a Christian Bale's Batman was like Val Kilmer. Nope.
I'm not your daddy's, Clooney.
I hope Ben Affleck steps up. I'm next.
Just starting a movie by just destroying suspension of disbelief. Such a bizarre choice. It's really weird.
Larry,
Listen, forgive me.
Yeah.
I've got to go.
Yes.
As you
it is
know.
4:30.
Are you going on a secret mission?
In show business, we were talking about this beforehand. Whenever this used to happen on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, when he'd say to one of the guests, well, I know you got to go now, and before the next guest came on, and when I was a kid, I used to think, oh, he's got to go.
Yeah.
And then when I started doing that show, was lucky enough to get to do it, I realized there's no go. It's 5:25 on a Tuesday. He's not going anywhere.
So where the hell are you going?
He's got to get down to the Slauson cutoff. The cutoff is Slauson.
I'm going back home. My wife and the kids are there, and my nephew is flying in for some business tomorrow, but we're going to have dinner. He's coming over our house at 5:30, and now that gives me enough time to get my car and head home and
Put in a
shower
James
up.
Bond movie, maybe?
No. I love podcasting. I love James Bond. I love being with you guys on your show. And you know what? I'm glad we met. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let me plug my show.
Please, go ahead.
This Week with Larry Miller is my podcast. We did our show in that room earlier. And I do love this stuff. So if you like it too, try my show, This Week with Larry Miller. And you know what, though? I'm glad you asked me onto this. This is endless to talk about.
Well, we
should
would
join
love to
us
have you
on
back.
the regular episode because I'm a huge fan of your work too. And Waiting for Guffman is one of my favorite movies. And your opening scenes in there. I'm a teacher and I show that every semester, and I feel like I have it down. And you're brilliant in that. So thank you.
$100,000 is the budget for the whole year,
and that includes swimming.
That's very sweet, and thank you. I dig it too.
Well, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you,
See
Larry
next
Miller.
time.
Thank you, everybody. Go listen to Larry Miller's podcast. Now,
let's get
to our list.
And Nick, you can sort of just give us your perception and thoughts as we go through our list.
Sure, guys. We made our top 5 and worst 5 lists of many varieties of things for the entire James Bond franchise. And the first one I have on here is Henchman. And because we just played this clip of Jaws, I figured why not talk about Henchman?
Henchman was the most difficult for me to winnow down, and I had a real hard time with it, so I got a few honorable mentions.
Let me ask you, off the top, Matt Gorley, what was your number 5? Let's start at the bottom of best. We want to go best or worst first? What would you rather hear first? Best, okay.
Well, I just realized I have 6. First of all, this was the toughest one for me. And Xenia Onatopp was my honorable mention. And
you're wrong, but okay.
And Rosa Klebb was in there, but then we had a discussion at lunch that maybe she's a villain, and I think you're right.
Yeah, I think Rosa Klebb's the villain in the movie, but that's okay.
I gotta
Don't worry
do
about it.
some thinking right now.
Well, I can tell you right now. Number 5 for me is Red Grant.
Oh, interesting.
Robert Shaw in From Russia with Love. Hot off the heels in my youth of being the guy in Jaws. Not in chronological order, of course, but I was like, holy shit, he doesn't talk like that in real life. And then, now what I love about, I love sort of like the idea of in From Russia with Love. That's where we sort of see for the first time
Sweated your recognition.
someone who I feel like is
Tokyo
Bond's equal.
before he died. I've been keeping tabs on you. I've been your guardian angel.
Saved your life at the gypsy camp.
Oh, yes. I am much obliged.
We were keeping you alive until you could get us the Lecter.
So you had me delivered on a plate. That's brilliant. Go on, I'm fascinated.
Now that we've got it, you and the girl are expendable. Between here and Trieste.
He's awesome.
He's great. You'll get no argument from me. In
He's
fact,
awesome.
you'll hear that name in a little bit.
Okay.
All right.
Number 5 for you.
It's a tie.
Who is it?
Oddjob and Knick Knack.
You're tying Oddjob and Knick Knack?
Yes.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. I have it in my head. Don't worry about it.
He's already cracked the corner.
I already cracked it.
On the way here, broke the taillight of his girlfriend's Volvo.
Great. Now she'll hear this.
She doesn't listen.
I was going to get it fixed.
She doesn't listen. We were backing out, and my car was right there, and I go, do you need me to move my car? Absolutely not. Crunch.
It was trying to get a Volvo out of the way of 2 other Volvos. And the second I said, no, I got plenty of room, crack, shattered her taillight, left taillight. Sorry.
I felt bad.
Yeah.
All right.
So I had Oddjob and Knick Knack also, right in that order.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, but mine are tied. That's just my number 5.
You can't do that.
Now, I know who Oddjob is. Who's Knick Knack?
He's a Hervé Villechaize
Who
from
is
Fantasy.
Knick Knack? Oh, boy. Are we?
Are they in the same movie? Is that why they're a duo?
No, I just like them both, and I didn't know how.
God.
I felt. Here's the honest truth. I felt like I had to have Oddjob on there, but I think I like Knick Knack a little better.
Sure.
If we're in among friends, and I feel like this is a safe environment, and I could admit that, I think it's blasphemous not to put Oddjob on there, but.
Guys,
I mean, he really just kind of grunts.
I just have The Man with the Golden Gun on book. Why do I not have it on?
He's Hervé Villechaize.
Put it up there. Put the PDF up there. We'll all read through it.
Okay. You take a part. I want you to be Bond's inner monologue. I'll be when he speaks. But yeah, Knick Knack is the right-hand man of Scaramanga in The Man with the Golden Gun.
He's a little guy.
He's a little adorable man.
I know the actor, so I get a sense.
He fetches Tabasco.
Yeah.
The first thing you hear Scaramanga say is he's sitting on the beach and he's yelling to Knick Knack, and he just yells, "Knick Knack! Yeah. Tabasco!" That's our introduction to our villains.
Does that get called back? There like no? Okay.
Nope.
Literally,
no need.
Just a call for Tabasco. So number 1 on my list.
Well, how are you already to number 1?
Because I didn't give Nick. Oh, I skipped number 2.
Wait. Oh, gee. I
2.
haven't even done number 4 yet.
Because you're putting 2 people in the same line. Go.
Okay. Jaws is my number 4. Richard Kiel.
Richard Kiel, we just saw. Jaws, of course. You know what Jaws does before he even says anything, right?
He's like a big. I know he's a big guy with a metal mouth. Right?
Yeah.
Boom.
Okay.
That's how you know he's a great henchman.
I have to implore you to listen to this BBC special that just came out called Reunion, and John Glenn and Roger Moore and Britt Eklund and Richard Kiel's on there, and there are all these Bond questions, and they finally get to Richard Kiel, and they go, "Now, Mr. Kiel, what did you ever do any of your own stunts or anything like that?" And he just goes, "Well, I had a friend, and he was a bartender, and what he would do is fill a shot glass all the way full of scotch, and then I found that praying helped me, and I drank a lot, and that's great because we have a Christian bond." And that was his answer. And I think that's the last public thing Richard Kiel ever did. I know.
Oh, boy. My number 2. So I've gone Red Grant, Oddjob, Knick Knack.
Let me catch up and do number 3.
Go.
Mr. Winton, Mr. Kidd. Oh, I love those guys.
That's my number 2.
Okay.
Mr. Winton, Mr. Kidd.
All right.
Mr. Winton, Mr. Kidd, who I had pulled up a clip of them earlier, and I will show you right now what makes them great. Ready, Nick?
Sure.
I love that. I'm like showing, this is how we show Nick what James Bond is.
And that's Crispin Glover's dad.
It is.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Dr. Tynan, good evening.
Who are you? And where's Joe?
Joe couldn't make it tonight. I'm Mr. Wint. This is Mr. Kidd.
Oh, I see.
Take your time. Take your time, scene. And music, everything, just take your time.
I like that they have to make up this whole dentistry thing to get him.
No one is around.
Teeth. I haven't had them out yet.
Would you mind having a look, Doctor?
Of course. I'm not going to hurt you. Just open. No. Open wide.
That's some acting right there.
So these two are lovers.
Wow, that's awesome.
They are part-time lovers and full-time fiends.
What a confusing ruse.
I know.
They're in a desert, and he asks him to. He happens to be a dentist.
Well, I think what's worth is seeing their comeuppance for you, Nick. This is the very end of the movie. Sean Connery has, of course, returned after getting $1 million.
Okay.
That's Tiffany Case.
Happy selection, if I may say.
I'll be the judge of that. That's rather potent. Not the cork, your aftershave. Strong enough to bury anything.
He wears the aftershave around his neck. Did you notice that?
Yes.
But the wine is
I
quite
gotta
excellent.
do that. That's
Although for such a grand meal, I had rather expected a claret.
Of course. Unfortunately, our cellar is rather poorly stocked with clarets.
Mouton Rothschild is a claret.
Boom! James Bond finds out people by wine choice.
Wow.
This is the best. Here we go. What? Slowest moving. Now that's not a pie, that's a bomb. As we see.
he's gay, so he likes that, is what they're saying. Like he has to like that. The freak.
That is Mr. Wynn and Mr. Kidd.
That's one of my favorite Bond movies.
Oh God, are you gonna go home and watch some of these?
Spectacular.
Yes.
That was so awesome.
Like the idea that he would need, if he's gonna stab him with skewers, just stab him. Don't light him on fire and then walk over slowly because you're trying to get your bearings on a boat.
They're like performance art killers, where it has to have be a statement.
I'd feel very awkward if I had to notify his next of kin how he died. He was immolated, holding some flaming skewers he was trying to use to kill a secret agent. He got flipped off a boat.
And then
the whole ordeal.
Blew up. So that was my.
That's great.
Number 2.
That was my number 2. And
my number 2 is one of my favorites from the Bond series, Mayday, from A View to a Kill. Grace Jones. Oh, come on. How do you not love her and are not in love with her? You know what I mean?
Well, there's a few ways,
Okay.
Matt.
I'm listening.
First of all,
can't do it, can
that
you?
flat top, not that appealing
Oh,
to me.
you could land a jet on that.
You could land a jet on that flat top.
God.
Are you familiar with Mayday?
I think. Wait, is this the one with? I haven't seen this movie, but this is the one with Walken,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Walken's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Let's just see.
yes.
Let's just see half a second of that.
Go to the love scene when they have
26
to
to
kiss
30
and
open,
Roger
sir.
Moore does the worst kiss in the world.
I'm trying to remember
It's
where
before
that
that
is.
when he first gets to the horse house.
You said horse house, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to be clear
Keep going
so we
back.
know what's happening.
Keep going back.
So Mayday is your number 2.
Two, yeah.
And your number 1 is whom?
Red Grant.
My number 5 is your number 1.
Here you go. Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's,
get ready, everybody. Cover your laps. You're about to get excited.
Mayday, where have you been? I've been waiting for you.
That's not even a flat top.
Take
That's
care
like a
of me,
Ocean
person.
Pacific T-shirt wave on her hair. Look at that.
Oh my God, I can't wait for the new Peter Pan.
Oh, forget about it. Forget about it. Tractor beam.
Very few words.
Oh. Well, they can edit it. Look at his
there to say?
uncomfortable kiss. God help me if I ever kiss a woman like this.
He wants to like kiss past her.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're at home listening to this, just go ahead and find that scene
Yeah.
online.
All right, worst henchman. Excuse me.
Worst henchman.
My number 5. This was a tough one.
Yeah.
There is hard to find, but my number 5 is the odd job guy in Skyfall. That like they're kind of making an homage to him, but it
Patrice?
Just no, the guy that he fights in the Komodo dragon pit. It just felt like an homage, but they didn't really add anything. It wasn't
I gotcha.
horrible,
I
but I was
totally
just
gotcha.
looking for options. You know.
My number 4 and 5 are a duo that appear in Diamonds Are Forever.
Oh,
Bambi and Thumper. Now, please, let's just. The audience has to see this just to
Look
see.
at that pose, though. Come
Yeah.
on. Oh.
Now, we've seen some poor fighting, right, Nick?
Sure. Yeah.
And some time wasting during a fight scene, right? Let's now enjoy this.
Morning, Bambi.
And I'm Thumper. Is there something we can do for you?
I can think of several things offhand, but at the moment I'm looking for Willard White.
Dick sucking.
Oh, Willie. Why, he's right out there.
And that's all there is to it.
Not quite. First, we're gonna have a ball.
I'm in.
boy.
I'm in. Oh.
All yours.
What's happening?
I love it.
Ready? This is pointless.
How did you not see that?
Hang on. It gets more pointless as the fight goes on. What? There are quicker ways to move across a room.
She's diversionary tactics.
Now they're just up there. He's confused too. He's like, what the fuck is happening? No, it's her when she does the split look back. That's when I
It's
quit.
the best. No, that's when I start. Right there. I'm in. And also, they shouldn't be called Bambi and Thumper. It should be, I'm gymnast and I'm actress, and one of us can't do what the other one can. But together, maybe you won't notice the blend.
So yeah, that's my answer. That's 4 and 5 for me is Bambi and Thumper.
My 4th is basically his name from Diamonds Are Forever. I think it's Mr. Kill. The guy that gets shot in the mouth with the laser. Am I right about that? Isn't his name Mr. Kill?
That's the name to die
Yeah,
for.
that's
Yes,
right,
that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's the worst
Okay.
name in Bond history.
All right.
Mr. Kill. Come on, let's get literal.
Next on my list, Milton Crest.
Oh.
The guy whose head got blown up in
I
that
don't
pressure
think of him
chamber.
as a henchman. I
I
think
do.
of him as just like a corollary baddie. Because
Just
he's not
a
really...
mixed up guy who
Yeah.
probably had a good heart.
What was the context for Milton Crest? I'm learning his name. What was the contest for his head getting blown up?
Bond had put all that money in there on his boat to make it look like to the drug kingpin that Crest was embezzling from him and trying to steal from him.
Yeah, he set him up.
So
Go ahead and finish yours out because my last 3 are related.
okay, number 2 is Reynard from The World Is Not Enough.
Really?
Yep, that is my number 2. He's a henchman because Sophie Marceau is the villain in that movie, or if we're really honest, the movie is the villain in that movie.
You think he's that bad? I think he's pretty good. Like, he does a good job acting.
You know
there.
what? We'll still be friends after this. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
we
it.
have very, very few Bond disagreements.
And my number 1 is Elvis.
From Quantum of Solace?
Quantum of Solace. A man who does almost nothing.
Yeah. I thought about
If
that.
you don't know who Elvis is, I don't even... Oh, did that not want to download all the way? I'm bad at stealing movies, guys.
He's the one whose toupee falls off when at the party in Quantum where he falls down the stairs.
And he has no lines that are memorable. He has no moments that are memorable.
He has the one moment where he kind of smiles at someone and you realize he's maybe likes men.
Yeah. So that's
the only character.
That's why he's kind of on the top of my list as shitty. Because he has that one moment where he smiles, kind of.
Yeah.
Like you just like...
Yeah.
It's airtight. I'm airtight over here.
And it's barely a smile. He does this.
Now, let's hear it, Matt Gorley. Your worst henchman.
3 through 1 is the Aryan guy in, hold on,
Tomorrow
For
Never
Your
Dies?
Eyes Only.
For Your Eyes Only. Oh, the guy who he identifies on the
Yes.
computer system?
And then the Aryan guy in You Only Live Twice. And then the Aryan guy in Tomorrow Never Dies. The big, tall, blonde henchmen enforcers that are completely interchangeable.
Yeah, absolutely. The Tomorrow Never Dies guy.
There's one in Living Daylights, but he gets a little bit more character development. I like that guy.
Tomorrow Never Die, I believe.
Oh,
he
this
has
guy's
a
the worst.
scene. Joe Don Baker? You can't say Joe Don Baker's the worst. What are you talking about?
I sure can. That's coming later.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Where is the?
There he is.
So this is who he's talking about.
Maximum amount of pain, whilst keeping the victim alive for as long as possible.
Dr. Kaufman's
Look at
record
that.
was
He looks like the Reverend Ted Haggard.
I'm hoping to break it. I would have thought watching your TV shows was torture enough.
Boom! Drop the mic, James Bond. Now get a smile from this other agent. Great. And then he just exhales.
That guy got cast when they were like, all right, Dolph Lundgren said no.
But we still need someone with the close set eyes of a badger.
His death scene is kind of good. Here he is fighting. Pulls the knife out of his chest, cuts his vest off.
T minus 10 seconds.
And as far as I can tell from the missile taking off and killing him, it just looks like his foot would have gotten burned. That's all that would have happened. I don't know if James Bond knows how CPR works, but that's not it.
3, 2.
Oh, my foot! Oh, that's right. He made the whole boat kill him. Anyway, James saved. He's still making out with her down there. I love your face, Gorley.
The worst Bond movie ever.
I love Tomorrow Never Dies. Have you seen Tomorrow Never Dies?
No.
Don't.
What were you doing in 1997? Were you just at Titanic every weekend?
I was. All right, let's move on to, how about gadgets?
Gadgets, I got a problem with the gadgets.
What's your problem?
My list isn't fully complete, but let's go.
Okay. Best gadgets, I got to give honorable mention to the Aston Martin Vantage Volante from Living Daylights.
Sure.
And the rebreather from Thunderball.
That has to be like the best gadget. Well, it's not the best. It's
an honorable
near the
mention.
top of my list.
It says so on my list.
I think you're reading it wrong. Because here's what makes the rebreather unique in the world of James Bond. Okay,
I like it. You understand?
Yeah,
that,
I
right?
understand you like it, but I'm just trying to make you understand how special and unique it is
to you,
to me.
Okay,
it's designed for a specific task that makes complete sense with where he's going.
I'm with you on that.
Which is
many of my.
Something that his shitty gadgets are not.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my number 5 is a tie, but they're related.
I'm listening.
The crocodile submarine in Octopussy and the manta ray costume in License to Kill.
So you don't like Bond escaping places or sneaking into places dressed as sea dwellers?
I don't mind it. I don't mind it one bit.
So I just want to show the scene in this terrible movie. What's next on your list while I'm doing that?
It's a tie again, but they're related. The couch trap. The couch that sucks a person in Q's laboratory, and the magnetic force field levitating tea tray that cuts off the head of the mannequin in Q's little laboratory.
Is that in License to Kill?
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know.
And those are your best gadgets.
Oh no, wait. I'm on worst. Sorry.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I was gonna say that didn't make any sense.
My number 4 is the rocket cigarette from You Only Live Twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm on board with that.
Yeah, I'd like some of that.
Yep.
That'd be fun. Okay, how about you?
Okay. So for best gadgets, so that was your number 4 best gadget? Okay. So coming up on that list, I have the Sonic. The only thing I liked from this movie that we're watching right now that I have pulled up down of the day, the Sonic agitator ring that would destroy a glass panel.
That's right. Speaking of Die Another Day, I noticed this yesterday. This looks like the chandelier.
Jesus. It does.
Yeah.
That is the deadliest piece of lighting I've ever seen.
Yeah. I don't want to.
Boy, thank God we're not in a city prone to earthquakes.
How did he die? Impaled by a bunch of giant light bright pegs.
Turn on the magic of colored light.
All right, my number 3 is a tie, but they're related as well in the body horror category of the Die Another Day fake. I'm sorry, the Diamonds Are Forever fake fingerprint and the third nipple. So any little piece of prosthetic body thing that you can put on.
The fake fingerprint in
Diamonds Are Forever.
Oh, right. Now, how do you feel about the fingerprint scanning cell phone from Tomorrow Never Dies?
Shit.
Okay.
They'll never make a phone that can scan your fingerprints. iPhone 5. Not S. Right. Okay, what's your number 3?
Which list are we on again?
Best gadgets.
Okay, number 3 on the best gadgets has to be the mini copter, which they called Little Nessie.
Little Nelly.
Nelly.
Yes. All right. Yeah.
It was like a Nelly, but smaller.
Yeah.
You know, the rapper.
Sure. My number 2 is the Aston Martin DB5 from Goldfinger.
That's your number 2?
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear number 1.
I'll bet.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 2 for me is the From Russia with Love suitcase.
That's my number 1.
What?
You got your DB5 in my suitcase.
We mixed it up.
Microphone cheers.
Guys, what's so special about this suitcase?
Oh, well,
what is it?
First of all,
what do you need? It's in there.
It's the first gadget, right? The first real gadget that James Bond comes across here. And I'm going to play. This is the first appearance of Q. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up right. He goes, gets
Sylvia
on his
Trench
car
is
phone.
back.
Sylvia Trench is a trench. Yada yada yada. And
you know what I almost put on my list? The double quilted leather door.
It's not really a gadget.
It is to me.
So let's see. One quick second here, Major Boothroyd.
Suppose when she meets me in the flesh.
Oh, shit on Matt Myra. Ooh. Guys, I got it right.
Just see what you do. Miss Moneypenny, ask the equipment officer to come in, please.
Equipment officer.
So you're like, you've never seen this before.
Together.
What's Q branch?
Looking piece of luggage.
What's an equipment officer?
We're issuing this to all
Look
double
at that door.
personnel.
Look at that door.
Great door.
Oh, there's 2 of them.
An ordinary black leather case with 20 rounds of ammunition here and here.
Here and here. How does he get that many syllables in there?
Now, if you take the top off, you'll find the ammunition inside. On the side here, flat throwing knife. Press that button there. Now she comes.
What?
Inside the case, you'll find an AR-7 folding sniper's rifle.
Not as
.25 caliber.
inconspicuous.
With an infrared telescopic sight. Then, if you pull out these straps, inside are 50 gold sovereigns, 25 in either side.
Not really a gadget, but okay, Q.
Now, watch very carefully. An ordinary tin of talcum powder. Inside, a tear gas cartridge. That goes in the case against the side here like that. It's magnetized so it won't fall. Shut the case. Now, normally to open a case like that, you move the catches to the side. If you do, the cartridge will explode in your face. Now, to stop the cartridge exploding,
Nice pause.
turn the catches horizontally, like that. Then, open normally. Now you try it.
Turn the catches like that.
That's right.
And open ordinarily.
You got it?
Yes, I think so.
Is that all, sir?
Yes, thanks for...
And that's the first time we see a gadget.
That's good.
I gotta be honest. It seems like I mean, the exploding in your face thing, like that booby trap, is cool, but the rest of it seems like just a suitcase as it's normally used. It's
Wait, you're saying I could normally store ammunition in a suitcase?
Larry Miller does.
I could keep extra money in a suitcase? I don't like where you're going with this.
You're saying this box I can put objects inside and carry with me.
Boy, I really feel like Nick sort of ruined it for us.
No, it's all right. No, it's cool, guys. It's great.
Oh boy. And I'm just gonna I'm going to jump in.
Let's go.
On
We
worst
should-
to the worst gadgets,
Yeah.
okay? And I'm just going to skip right to number one of my worst gadgets
Okay.
in James Bond history, and it is right here.
This is my number 2.
Number 2 of worst? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's... John Cleese was given the role of Q after Desmond Llewellyn passed, and only allowed to keep it for
Look
one
at-
movie.
Maybe you've been down here too long.
The ultimate in British engineering.
You must be joking.
As I learned from my predecessor, Bond, I never joke about my work. Aston Martin call it the Vanquish, we call it the Vanish.
What the fuck?
Adaptive camouflage, tiny cameras on
Just
all
turn it
sides
off.
project
Just
the
turn
image
it
they
off.
see onto a light-emitting polymer skin on the opposite side. You see, to the casual eye, it's as good as invisible. Plus all the usual refinements, ejector-seat torpedoes, target-seeking shotguns to shoot down mobile objects. Why don't you acquaint yourself with the manuals? You'll be able to shoot through that in a couple of hours.
Just took a few seconds, Q.
Wish I could make you vanish.
We wish the same for this movie.
Does your complaint of that is that that's just wildly unrealistic? Is that the idea?
Yeah,
Or-
whereas a suitcase that contains things very realistic. I don't know if you're seeing our lists here.
No, but I get it. I understand from this perspective. Because, I mean, that's amazing.
That's a gadget. That's an amazing gadget.
Oh, God.
right.
What was your number one, if that was your number
Well,
two?
let me give you my honorable mention was the pocket snap trap from Diamonds Are Forever.
Pocket snap trap, sure, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
when he puts his hands in his lapel. All right. Number 5 was the espresso maker from Live and Let Die.
You can't count that as a gadget.
M thinks it's a gadget.
You cannot.
Number
There's
4.
No.
My list comes from my heart.
That's not a gadget. That's like walking into Brookstone and saying, I'm on a secret mission. Get me a coffee maker.
That's a gadget. All right. Number 4 I already mentioned was the couch trap levitating tea tray.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the gondola hovercraft. Sure. Number 2 is the invisible Aston Martin. And number 1, the most reverse engineered gadget there is, the inflatable avalanche-proof ski parka. That is like, here, we're giving you this in case you come across an avalanche.
So
did you? Oh, we hadn't read the script.
Number 1 on your list. Let's go. Let's just see that happen right now, because
God.
Q.
I'm noticing a strain of contempt for the Brosnan films. Seems to be a thing.
And I haven't even said it. Yeah, I have a real daddy issues with the Brosnan films.
It turns out Pierce Brosnan's movies weren't great. Not his fault. Okay, maybe a little bit his fault, but he obviously farted like a bagpipe. For the listener, I want them to think that's what's happening. Pretty sweet, right, Nick?
Suppose we all have to pay the piper sometime. Right, Q?
Oh, pipe down, 007.
Is it something I said?
No.
I've aged. Remember when I gave you that suitcase?
Something in this my fishing boat. For my retirement. And 6 beverage cup holders. All in all, rather stocked. Fully loaded, I think is the term.
All the Brosnan Q sequences
you're
seem
not
like
here
Super
to
Bowl
think.
commercials where they
You're
pulled in
here
a
to do
bunch
what
of stars.
I tell you. Now, go and put on the coat and demonstrate
Now
it
here's
to
the most
007.
reverse engineered
But of course.
thing in the history of
Now, watch
all of
closely,
James
please,
Bond movies.
007. The right arm goes in the right sleeve, thus, and the left arm in the left sleeve, thus. Now, note closely, please.
Still, I'm
Pockets,
surprised you don't own one of
poppers,
these.
and zipper. Take the lower part of the zipper and insert it into the
pull the
appropriate
tag.
What? You said
Seems well suited for the job.
Oh, man.
Audible groans from the audience. If you need to know when that would come in handy, it's here when this avalanche happens.
Alexa, look at me!
All right, we got to blaze through these if we want to do some questions. Okay, let's do cold opens, okay?
Let's just jump up to the top. Because you'll hear it on our next real episode, our full lists, but I want to speed it along for the audience so we can get to some questions and also get to songs.
Okay.
Number one, worst cold open. The World Is Not Enough. We're watching it right now.
The boat sequence?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
Because it is a 22-minute cold open. I'm not kidding. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 14 minutes. But that's too much.
I might have to be with you on that.
That's how that ends.
I may have to be with you on that. Yeah.
And what's yours? What was yours?
I had a Thunderball, but that can't be right. I must have not.
No, it can be. Thunderball's pretty terrible.
It is, but
it's very slow.
For Your Eyes Only is pretty bad. The stunts are really cool, but the whole Blofeld voice thing is weird.
Yep.
All right, best one, or should we go through those 5? Let's do the 5. And I'm gonna just
go ahead.
Ramrod
blow through your 5.
Right
Go.
Okay. You Only Live Twice is pretty cool because you leave with a twist. Is he dead? Okay. Get this.
Yeah.
GoldenEye. I got a Brosnan movie on there.
Whoa!
I think that opening sequence.
Because of the jumping off of the dam really gets you going?
Just the whole thing. It's a good opening sequence.
It
it's
is.
solid.
It is. Uh-huh.
Okay. Then Octopussy. Oh, forget about it. And second is Casino Royale, the new one. And then The Spy Who Loved Me with the big Union Jack parachute.
Wow. This is my number one right here. Goldfinger. Because it ends with this.
Shocking.
I still love you.
Positively shocking.
I mean, come on. They laughed at his line. They didn't groan at it.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
That's right. That's the big
That's
difference.
what makes James Bond good at things.
It's an earned pun. It's very, just like he deserved that.
Yeah. Shocking.
It's not an A to D. Like you can, it's like A to B. Okay, electricity, shocking, great. We got it.
All right, songs, or do you want to do girls?
Songs.
Or
Let's
villain?
go songs.
Okay.
Worst song.
Die Another Day.
You are 100% correct.
Yeah. It's not even a song. It's like a tone poem.
It is.
It's just awful.
It is. That is even doing poem a disservice. If you're not familiar, Nick.
No, I know this.
Or
This
the
is the Madonna
audience.
one, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna wake up, yes and no, I'm gonna kiss.
Let's just give it a minute to breathe.
I'm gonna keep this secret. I'm gonna
She's not singing yet.
close my body now.
This also has the part where in the bridge of the song she goes Sigmund Freud.
Oh, that's right. And something about like, what's your ego? What is it? It's horrible.
This is like a song they blasted 180 decibels to break Gitmo detainees.
Or to bring down a dam.
This is actually, they had started with this and then settled on waterboarding being nicer. You know what? Let's just do this. But I agree with you. My number 2 worst song, so the just under this, as not as bad, but I think bad, All Time High.
That is a smooth romance, soft rock song that'll just, find yourself a lady with a flat top and just get in there.
All Time High, for those of you not
it's
familiar,
so good.
For some reason is this.
To sleep. I'm in so strong and so deep.
You're on a beanbag,
and so are
you just open a tab and you pour a little,
in my time,
cocktails you'd take to the beach in a pop top thing. You pour that in there, and maybe you're smoking a Virginia Slim, and then just Sheila comes over, and then you're just rolling around in front of the fireplace, and that was the whole weekend. That's this song. Are you there with me now?
Nope.
No?
So agree to disagree or just plain
So
disagree?
good.
All right, let's
So
jump to
good.
Bond Girls.
I just want to wait. We haven't even done best song.
Oh my God!
And I
I'm
want to tell
sorry,
you
guys.
about my number
I'm
2
sorry.
worst was one of your favorites.
Your number 2 worst is Tomorrow Never Dies?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, buddy.
Don't be a dick. My number 2 is Another Way to Die from Quantum of Solace.
As worst?
As number 2 worst, yeah.
Yeah, it's not so good.
Let's just... Do you want to jump up?
Yeah, all right. Songs, here we go. My number 5, Man with the Golden Gun. Forget about it. Number 4.
That's my number 4.
Really?
Yeah.
My number 4 is You Know My Name for Casino Royale. That's a little polarizing for
That
some
is
people.
not anywhere near this list.
I like it. I like what it does. I like its style. It's got moxie. Okay. Number 3, Goldfinger. Can't beat it. It's a classic.
Number 3 is also Goldfinger on my list.
Oh. Number 2, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. It's an instrumental.
Not on my list.
Not on your list?
Nope.
You just love Satan. Okay. And number 1, when I really thought about it, James Bond theme. It has to be.
You can't put that on there.
Okay, then I'm going to move everything up 1 and say my number 5 is Live and Let Die.
So your number 1 is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. This is my number 5 is A View to a Kill.
That's a good one.
Yeah, clapping.
Covers me, but you know.
Come on.
Great. I don't
Simon
argue.
Le Bon?
That's in my top 10 probably.
So good.
It's good.
Number 4, Man with the Golden Gun, Goldfinger. Then number 2 is Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
And my number 1, which did not pop up on your...
Wait, let me guess.
On your top 5.
All Time High by Rita Coolidge. Is it Tomorrow? The World Is Not Enough?
No. It's the best song ever written for a James
I
Bond
love this
movie,
one too. Yeah.
which is The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah, it's a goodie.
Guys, it's Nobody Does It Better by Carly Simon.
It's great.
Nobody does it better.
Oh, come on!
I love it too. Don't get me wrong.
Sometimes I wish someone
But they're not going to because they can't do it better.
Nobody does
Not even half.
quite the way you do.
This is legitimately one of my favorite songs. I love this song so much. It's so
Thank
great.
you, Nick
Outside,
Walker.
not even in the context of James Bond, just as a song in general.
Right there. Oh, I'm in it.
It's like this should just be the default song for in memoriam montages.
Yes.
It's like yeah.
Oh, let's take a look at some of the folks we lost this year.
Richard.
Oh, Ken Adam. Marvin Hamlish. Rest in peace, Marvin.
He recently died.
Oh, yeah, Carly Simon, we miss you. Come back to us, William P. Cartridge.
Too young.
Oh,
Too young.
Cartridge. Chris Wood. Oh, Richard Maybaum, the late, great Richard Maybaum. This really does. You could just say any name and it sounds like they died. Albert R. Cubby Broccoli. Oh, he was great. And who can forget Lewis Gilbert, everybody. Lewis Gilbert.
Sweet.
Also Matt Gorley.
What?
But that's my number 1.
I'm probably going to die with you driving me home in your Volvo.
Gorley, I'm genuinely surprised that wasn't even on your list. I feel
Yeah,
like
I
it's
love
like-
it. I love it.
Yeah,
But just
take something
personally-
off that list.
How can you had like the Chris Cornell song on there, right?
You had a Chris Cornell song on there.
I won't be persecuted for my loves and ideals. These are personal songs to me.
Where does that happen? Right here?
Yeah.
I don't love it.
See, this could be an in memoriam.
Oh, so long, Bruce Moriarty.
I'm not even necessarily a Chris Cornell fan, but this...
Oh, Gary Powell, you were great at casting.
Just this whole movie. Just the fact that it's associated with this movie.
See, I feel
forget
like
it.
you're letting that get in the way.
I'm letting that
Like,
lead
I
the
love
way.
Octopussy. Love it.
Yeah.
8 vaginas. That's what it means. Right? That's what it means? Oh, dear.
8 kitty cats. All right, let's do Bond villains.
Go.
My worsts are basically anyone from Living Daylights because they just don't really work. There's no like comeuppance for them at the end.
Okay, I'm
Brad
with you on
Whitaker
that, sure.
and Georgi.
Brad Whitaker, Joe Don Baker,
Yeah.
late great. He's
But
not
my
dead.
number 2 is Elliot Carver from Tomorrow Never Dies.
He's my number 1.
Get out of my face area.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
No, my number one worst.
Oh, I thought you liked him.
I do, but in retrospect of like taking it apart and looking at all the villains, he's my least favorite villain of all time.
Oh,
because
honey.
his plan is so stupid.
Yeah.
The man just wants to just start a war so he can cover it with his news channel.
It's the worst.
His plan is to start World War III just
I've been
to
saying
cover
this. I've been saying this all podcast long.
I don't care for this.
Okay.
All right, go.
Top 5 villains. Number 5, Ross
Wrong.
Kananga.
No, you're right. Go ahead.
All right. You're not going to like this one. Number 4 is a tie because they're kind of connected, but Elektra and Renard in The World Is Not Enough.
You're a stupid person.
Okay. I think she's a good, strong character. I like her character.
I hate you right now. I just don't even know what to do with you.
How about accept me for who I am?
You're so wrong. Matt.
Renard he's subtly acted. He's the only
Matt.
thing in that movie worth a damn.
Matt, no. Look at this. Look at her. She's not even good at acting.
Yes, she is.
And my family's. It runs in my
First of all, she's got a language
can't even
barrier.
speak English.
Yes, she can. She speaks the language of love. She's
And when I'm
dumbing it
through,
down.
The whole world will know my name.
Look at those bangs.
My grandfather's name, the glory of my people.
Now put on Rita Coolidge and watch this.
All right. I disagree. Go ahead.
Number 3, Silva from Skyfall.
He's your number 3 villain?
That's what I just
Of
said.
all time?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, he's really good.
Go ahead. I don't think
Number
I
2,
don't think it counts.
Zoran from A View to a Kill.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, and number 1?
I'm sorry I drove all this way to get judged. Number 1, Ernst Stavro Blofeld.
Well, that's kind of got to be number 1.
is that
right?
okay?
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Ready for me?
Yeah.
So we agree with Kananga. Scaramanga.
Yeah, all right.
I love him because
Yeah,
he
he's
just
good.
wants to kill James
Yeah.
Bond.
See how supportive I am even when I don't
Yeah.
agree with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That was good. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate your opinions.
Goldfinger.
Okay, yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
I don't like this. Blofeld.
That's your number 1?
Yeah, I didn't have 4. I only had 4.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a problem right there.
Yeah.
I did my work. You didn't do your work.
Listen, we only have 15 minutes left.
right.
I want to.
Okay.
I want to. The audience has. See
Okay,
if
let's
they
do
have
the
questions.
girls really quickly,
No,
okay?
Go give me your number 1 girl, and I'll tell you if you're right.
Vesper Lynd.
I'll tell you if you're right.
Vesper
You're
Lynd.
right. You
Okay.
are. Okay, we
All
agree
right.
again.
All
Vesper
right.
Lynd. Yep.
Okay.
You can clap. It's fine.
Okay, that's good.
And your worst.
Christmas Jones.
That was my number 2 worst.
You have Halle Berry as the worst?
Yeah.
She didn't even make my list.
I can't believe you're even here with me right now.
She was Jinx, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember, I don't know if maybe I'm imagining this, but I remember a rumor at the time that they were planning
Yes,
a Jinx
it's
spin-off
true,
movie.
it's true.
Oh,
Yeah.
they sure were.
Yeah.
They sure were. You know why? Because they hated America. She played an American Spy, guys. That's why I said that. Anyway, I can't even deal with that. But we'd like to, if anyone in the audience has a question, raise your hand. Matt Gorley and I can answer any question you have about us.
You, sir, what's your name?
Jordan,
Okay.
what's going on?
And what publication are you from?
Jordan has a question. Jordan, wait for the mic. The stage manager is running a microphone over so
how
you can be
nice.
heard on our audio podcast. Jordan,
Hi.
go for it.
I was going to ask you, so if Bond movies if they have the habit of kind of copying whatever's hot at the time,
So hot right now.
what would you predict gets copied in the next
James Bond has
film?
a giant ass.
No. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or he has to fight the Avengers.
Or the Anaconda.
Yeah, no, I mean, right now, the big trend right now as far as action movies are superhero movies.
Yeah, right.
You know, and James Bond
Oh,
is
can you
already his own
imagine?
superhero. The thing I've been wanting to see for my entire life is Bruce Wayne and James Bond fighting.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to see Batman versus, and they, full arsenal. Batman's got his full arsenal, and James has all of Q Branch at his disposal. I want to see who wins in that fight.
Does James Bond have the invisible car?
In this, yeah, sure, he might as well. Yeah.
Invisible car versus Batmobile is the showdown we're going to see.
Oh, well, the Batmobile would win.
I think I think Batman destroys James Bond. Probably, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's not do it.
My prediction for the future of the franchise is I'm guessing in the next movie James Bond kills somebody and then says, Hashtag YOLO.
He would say yolt because you only live twice. That's the answer to that question, Jordan.
That was a
Anyone
good
else
question.
have,
That was a good
we have another question from the back? Hello, yes.
Tell us your name.
Hello, I'm Mindy.
Hi, Mindy.
Do you recommend reading any of the books, and if so, which
Of
one
course.
should I start with?
Oh, definitely.
Casino Royale, I think, is the
Yeah.
best one to start with. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the first one of the bunch. I would here's the order I would go in. I'd give you 3 right off the bat. I would say read Casino Royale, then read Live and Let Die, and then I would go ahead and jump over to the book Thunderball, which isn't that bad actually, because you don't have to watch people underwater. You can imagine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Casino Royale, and the second book is Live and Let Die, and they're good to read back to back because Casino Royale is really strong, and then Live and Let Die is crazy racist and strange, and some of his issues start to come out, Fleming's issues in that, and then so they're kind of interesting to read back to back. And then I think Moonraker's third, which I really like. It's nothing like the movie. It's really simple, and it's a good book. And Diamonds Are Forever is a really good one, too. It's nothing like the movie.
That's a good song, too.
Yeah.
Damn it. All right. Thank you. Anyone else have a question? Yes, sir. You have a question, and you're wearing a similar jersey to the stage manager? Or is this confusing me?
I was just curious. I heard a story once, if you guys have addressed this before, forgive me, about Quentin Tarantino wanting to do a Bond movie, but wanted to do it in a period style, like in the 60s. What would you guys think if that actually were to occur? A movie released in 2014, 15, 16, but in the 60s, a James Bond movie.
I've said before that after Craig, I would love them to reboot it in the 60s, because I don't know where you go from Daniel Craig at that point. It would be
Well,
nice
it
to
started to get so, as we saw with all of Pierce Brosnan, it started to get so crazy that they had to go, oh, hang on, because next is a spaceship.
Right.
Oh, we've done that in Moonraker, but I think I would watch it. Here's how I feel about that. I would watch it, but I wouldn't want it to take the place of a James Bond
You want a
movie.
little
You know what I mean?
parallel universe thing
I want
going on.
I would have a
Yeah.
parallel James Bond universe running at the same time. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that name anywhere near this. I want a clear shot of his suits, no flares. We have a question up in the front, and then we'll pop back there. Yes.
Hi, do you know when your Dead Authors Ian Fleming episode is going to be available?
Good question.
I'm not sure. I imagine it'll come out pretty soon. You may already know this, but I had my girlfriend's sister make a terry cloth powder blue men's play suit like Bond wears in Goldfinger. And when she brought it over the day of the show, it was too small to fit a small child. I couldn't even get in it without hunching over and just eviscerating my crotch. And so I didn't get to wear that, sadly. But it was a very fun show, and I imagine it'll come out pretty soon, I think. So, yeah, subscribe to Dead Authors on iTunes. And Ian Fleming is on the latest Super Ego podcast, too, if you check that out.
And we had a question in the back. All the way in the back. I like to say back. Oh, double the questions. There's a terry blue, in case you want to know what that looks like. Terry cloth is a running theme here in our podcast. There it is. Terry cloth jumpsuit, Nick.
Look at that.
Get one. That's what people wear by the pool back
Look
then.
at even he's wearing, even the windows. It's everywhere.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I was just wondering, because Bond seems to have a repeated theme every now and then. We just keep going back to the old stories. We've done Thunderball twice. We've done Space Lasers a couple of times. Is there any story that you're like, okay, we're due to do this again, and I would love to see them do it?
Let's say it together. On
Her Majesty's Secret Service. Yes, absolutely. I think that James Bond needs to, in the modern day and age, fall in love, get married,
And
then
deal
have
with
her-
allergies.
Yeah. I mean, kids are worried about vaccines. You don't want to do that. I don't know what the hell the problem is. It's all vaccines.
He's a big
right?
anti-vaxxer.
He's a big
It's
anti-vax.
Jenny McCarthy plays Blofeld.
Yeah, Jenny McCarthy is Blofeld. You know who her henchman is? That Wahlberg character she just married. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see James Bond get married and then have her get shot in the head right next to him at the wedding day.
It's a dark
then
way to put it.
The next movie could be Revenge. Even though I just feel like that's Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace all over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we'd want to see on Her Majesty's Secret Service. And we have 5 minutes left, so let's go ahead and close it out with our the closing thoughts. Nick Weiger, friend to the franchise now. I feel like we've turned you from a casual James Bond watcher to a full James Bond appreciator.
I noticed you're wearing powder blue as well.
I am. Yeah, there we go.
Well done.
The advocacy all around for the Bond franchise, it's contagious.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems, I don't know, everything you've shown is great. I've seen a few of the films, but this seems like a sort of thing of, would you recommend to someone like me who's kind of a Bond neophyte, is it go back to the beginning and then just watch them all in order? Is that the ideal? We just watch it down?
Yeah.
We just commit, however long, 50 hours to watching 22 films?
You know what? It's going to be a fun 2.5 days. Because I assume that's when you're doing it. You're doing it full. But yeah, I would just get yourself a nice tall glass of root beer. Sit down with a Dr. No. And get ready for 60s pacing.
I would get yourself a beanbag and a fireplace and a nice lady named Sheila and take a weekend up
We just
at Big
want you to
Bear.
reach your all-time high, you know? But yeah, I would say watch it in order. Dr. No is the one I rewatch the most.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Me, it's View to a Kill for some reason.
Because you love that fucking theme song.
I do.
Which you didn't even put in your...
Oh, I love it. Don't get me wrong.
We're going to miss you, Papillon Susu.
You know who that is? That's the woman that does the butterflies, because papillon means butterfly.
Oh.
I think she really does that as a bit, and her name is like Butterfly Susu. And she does the little tweet, tweet, tweet thing, you know.
So she's like hanging...
she's the butterfly lady.
Oh, my God.
Papillon Susu.
So,
Papillon
in a
Susu.
James Bond movie, if you handle the butterflies on set, your name goes in the opening credits.
Cubby Broccoli treated everyone like family.
Oh, he's the Olive Garden of producers. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for James Bonding.
Thank you, Nick Weiger.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Larry Miller, and thank you, LA Podcasting Festival.
Remember, stamps.com/WTF or something.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.